Hello and welcome to another live recipe with me, Chef Day, here in my home, in my very own kitchen. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am just going to make sure that we've got the live up and it's actually happening and all of the tech is working okay. So please do let me know if there are any issues with sound or with, the view that you can see or stuff like that. So we are still trying out this new tech, but it seems to be going well. It does seem to be going well. So let me see if there we are. Okay, right, so I've got the live up and I can see who is in the room already. So we have Justine and Sarah, welcome, welcome. And just to say as well, thank you guys, because I know like a few of you have been sharing photos and stuff like that on the group. So, and you guys can hear me. That's a first for this week. That is a first for this week. So good morning, good morning, good morning, Colleen. Justine says everything is working, and it sounds nice. So I don't know whether that means like the fact that you can hear the sound is nice, or the recipe that we're making, the sound is nice. Hope. Thank you for joining us again. As you guys know, the whole point of this is that you guys can ask me questions. You can also have your own running theme of jokes as well, which is so lovely to see. It's really, really lovely to see. So, I really do love seeing you guys chatting along and, that type of thing. So, as ever, we have a rainbow in my kitchen. Who doesn't have a rainbow in their kitchen these days? I hope that you guys have one in yours too. If you do have any rainbows in your kitchen, then please do take a snap and post it on the community hub, because I would love to see that. I would love to see that. And so with every show we have, you guys have to guess what is at the end of our rainbow. So let's see if anybody has so Sarah says, now I understand your arty drawings. Is it an artichoke? Almost. Anthony has also guessed artichoke. Underneath the rainbow. So from where I am, it's underneath the rainbow. From where you are, it's probably on top of the rainbow. So it's almost an artichoke. Okay, so think of the whole food pun theme that we've got going on, and then you might guess it. Justine says that I crack up. Good. Okay, let's see. Oh, Paul, thank you for joining us again. Sue, Ingrid, thank you for being admin today as well. Karen, thank you for joining us. Maria says, hello, I must watch today. I love risotto. Me too. It's a really, really lovely dish. And Doug, thank you for joining me. Okay. So Lisa says, good morning, Day. I ordered my apron. Okay, so guys, we started selling our aprons because you guys wanted them. So this is our lovely apron. Hard wearing, and I really like it. You can't see oil stains. That's my main priority with aprons is if you can't see oil stains, then that's a good thing. Because I get messy in the kitchen. Okay, right, Julia, hello again. Thank you for joining us. Debbie, good morning from Toronto. Your laughter is music to my ears. Good. Anthony, you guessed, it's a artichoke. It's a artichoke. So I had to get involved with all the foodie puns that you guys had going on yesterday. So this is my effort with my artichoke. Yes. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Denise, greetings and good morning from Savannah. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And okay, so let's get on to today's recipe. So today's recipe is a spring veg risotto, and I wanted to make this with you guys because I've started getting my veg boxes once again from Riverford, and I'm getting UK only veg boxes. So it's a great thing to do if you do live in the UK. Riverford Organics were one of the first, if not the first, organic farm to sell to everyday people and to bring this wonderful organic veg to their home. And so I have actually had the really great fortune of visiting Riverfield Organics and being shown around all the different fields by Guy, and being shown the bitters. So we actually had a tour of all of the different bitters that they have there, which might sound boring to a lot of people. To the general public, I think it's fair to say they probably wouldn't want that as their holiday, but that was my holiday. So a tour of the bitters. So things like radicchio, and we got to see cardoon. And so cardoon is very, very interesting a vegetable, and it grows really well in the UK, abundantly well in the UK. In fact, I've got this really lovely picture of Guy walking ahead through this field of cardoon, and it looks like we're in Jurassic Park or something like that, because these things are beautiful, really, really beautiful. So a cardoon is a type of thistle. It's in the thistle family, and it actually produces this really, really beautiful, massive thistle at the top of it. And apparently, the inside of that thistle can actually be used as a replacement for rennet. So it is possible to use those thistles as something to help with a vegan cheese recipe. I haven't tried it myself yet. I need to get hold of them and see if the farm will be able to send me some when they're next in season. But the reason why I'm mentioning cardoon is because they're very, very closely related to these guys, and we will be using these today. So in my veg box, I got 2 of these. These are a bit bigger than the ones that I got last week, and I did actually post a video of how to prepare these. So the ones in the video are very, very small. They're mini ones, which by the way are lovely, finely sliced and raw, absolutely beautiful. These are a little bit bigger, so we only got 2 rather than 3. So yeah, we will be using those in our risotto today. Okay. Okay, good. So Doug said he loves risottos but has never made one. So I'll just give you like some really good like handy tips of how to make an epic risotto. Basically, there's just a few things that you need to know, and then it will taste really, really lovely. Esoterica said thanks for such lovely promotion of vegan food. But oh dear, I was getting so good at lip reading. Cheeky. Jenny says, I've given my hubby a massive hint for the apron. Might need to give him a few more hints though. Yeah, sometimes they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Okay, so we are going to be using the artichoke in our recipe. We are also going to be using a couple of other things that I wanted to point out before we get going. So this beautiful forest here. So these are some pea sprouts that I've been growing, and I used carlin peas from Hodmedod. So let me just get my packet out. Just a sec. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. So this is my packet of carlin peas. So literally just peas that you would, soak and then boil and then put into like a chili or, stew or whatever it is that you want to make. But I decided that I wanted to shoot and also sprout some and just see how they go. And these have turned out so well. Look how high they are. They're so high. So you can grow, I've put a video onto our Facebook page and also onto our Instagram, so you guys can see that, and you can see like the progress and how long it takes. But basically it took maybe about 6 or 7 days to get them to be tall, and then we can just snip these guys off and pop them into our salad, and they taste, well, the pea shoots, they taste very, very much like pea, like concentrated pea. Of course they taste of pea. Of course they taste of pea. But sweet as well, really, really sweet. So we can use some of these right at the very end as a garnish, but do check out that video, because I think it just like, with a lot of these things, like we hear about how easy it is to do, but it's much better to kind of see it being done. So hopefully that video will inspire you guys to start sprouting and shooting things. But there's loads of things that you probably already have in your cupboard that you can do this with, because if you have any dried peas, as long as they're not split, you can do this. You can do this, and you only need a little bit of soil. And here I've used one of these mushroom trays. So we save all our mushroom trays and then we use them in the garden because they're really, really useful for things like this. And this has been on the shelf back there. In fact, you can see my forest. That's my forest over there. Okay, and then the other thing that we're going to use today, which is very exciting, is these. These are, I was trying not to show you the bottom bit because I'll give the game away. So these are carrot tops. So these are beautiful and they taste very carroty. So yeah, we're going to use these as well. You can use them like a herb. You can use them like a herb because they are as delicate as a herb. You know, so you can just finely chop them and put them in at the end. So really making use of, you know, everything that we've got in our veg box, because we got these guys in our veg box yesterday. So we want to make sure that we use all of these. Oh, thank you for sharing that. So Ingrid has just shared a link to the video on how to grow pea shoots, and also it's how to grow pea sprouts as well. So we've got both of them in there. Oh, Colleen said I made a pesto from carrot tops once. Lovely, lovely. Yes, they are. They are really, really useful to use, and it just seems such a shame to throw all of this away when we can put it to good use. So I made a lasagna once for a client, and I put this in the bechamel, and it was lovely. Really, really, really nice. So really don't throw it away. There is always stuff that you can do with it, definitely. Abigail says, "Hey, hey!" I like that funny face as well that you've popped on there. So we'll pop that in at the end as well. So we'll just pop that to one side. Now, in fact, it can go there because these things are so pretty. They're so pretty. It's like you get like double the amount of pleasure from it because you get to look at it because it's so pretty and have it in your kitchen. And I kept these out overnight because I just wanted to look at them. God, I sound sad. But you also get to eat them, which is wonderful. Really, really wonderful. Emma, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome. And welcome to anyone else who I haven't said hello to. And please do comment. Let us know where you're from. Let us know if you've got any questions. And yeah, I'll try my best to answer them. It doesn't have to be about this recipe. It can be about other vegan foodie things. Absolutely fine. Anne says, I've used carrot tops in greens with it. That's a really, really good idea. That's a really good idea for using carrot tops. Okay, so on to the ingredients that we'll be using for today. Okay, so first of all, we've got all of our ingredients here. So first of all, we have our oil, and today we will be using our, this over. This is a pot of sun-dried tomato oil. So I've saved it and I'm going to use this. If you guys have anything like a light olive oil or an olive oil or even an extra virgin olive oil, then that's fine to use that. Otherwise, use something like a sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, that type of thing. And then we have one onion, which we will be finely chopping it. So you do want to finely chop it this time. So, you know, slow and steady, absolutely fine. Don't have to rush anything at all. We've got a few garlic here. Really, that's up to you. I'm going to put in 3 of these. My body is just really wanting garlic at the moment. Don't know why. And then we've got our choice of spring veg. So I've given you lots of different options of the different spring veg on our list. So we've got artichoke. But I know that can be quite expensive and also difficult to get hold of, you know, so it doesn't have to just be artichoke. It can be any spring veg. So we've got artichoke, asparagus, peas, courgette, bok choy. Now, one thing that I would say is that we're not going to be using bok choy today, but the other day when I made this recipe, I did use bok choy, but the bok choy I put in right at the end. So if you're going to use any veg that, you know, we would normally just steam for a few minutes, we would really lightly cook it, then put it in towards the end. We don't want to overcook it. So that's just like one word of warning. But things like the peas, you know, and the courgette, any greens, you know, things like kale, spinach, baby spinach would go really, really well in this. So really, you know, you can really play around with this recipe and use what you've got. And kind of like the idea, the inspiration of it was from a veg box, because quite often you don't know what you're going to get until it arrives on your doorstep. Particularly as I'm using only UK grown ingredients, you know, it can be a bit unexpected. Okay, and then we have white wine, grape juice, or kombucha. So traditionally in a risotto, you would add a splash of white wine, which of course you can do, but you can also use grape juice if you don't want to use any alcohol. And also you can use a bit of kombucha. So as long as the kombucha it doesn't have any flavoring in it, you know, it's not like rose and hibiscus, then don't use that. Just use your plain kombucha. So I've got my kombucha over there behind me, and a little dash of that will be going in. We have 1 litre of stock. So my litre of stock is there. So I'm keeping it on the hob to keep warm. So that is a really, really important thing to remember when you're making risotto. Your stock needs to be warm. It needs to be hot. So bring it up to boiling point and then lower it to a simmer. And just, keep it on that heat. So if anybody's cooking along at home, because I know that some of you guys are, then get your stock on now. So we've got 1 litre of stock. I used Marigold powder, the stock powder that I always use. So I just went by the instructions on the side of it. So I added about 1 tablespoon of Marigold stock powder to 1 litre stock. Now, with the stock, you can never have too much. It's always better to have too much stock than not enough. So we may end up with a bit of stock left over today. Absolutely fine, no problem at all. And then we have our risotto rice. So with this rice, you can absolutely use just a plain short grain rice, because I know that risotto rice can be expensive as well. So, if you're on a budget, then just do it with short grain rice, or if that's what you've got in your cupboard, try it out with short grain rice, and it will taste like just as lovely. Okay, and then we have our salt and our black pepper. And to finish off, we're going to make a kind of like Parmesan substitute with some nuts. So you can use any nuts or seeds that you want to use. I've chosen these walnuts today. And then we have some nooch, of course. So we're going to add a bit of that. But again, you can add as little or as much as you want, but I'll give you guidelines on that later. Okay, so let's get our pan on and heating up. And so whilst that is heating up, I will chop my onion and garlic to get these ready. Let me just see if we've got any questions. Abigail said artichoke is so tasty. Oh, Abigail, you're a funny girl. Okay, I remember you now. Yes, artichoke is very, very tasty. And there used to be an old English parlour game, which was to eat an artichoke and say what it tasted like. Obviously, these were in the days before drinking games or anything a bit more interesting than that. But, you can try it out yourself. You can try some artichoke and see if you can say what it actually tastes like, because it doesn't really taste like anything else. Okay, so we are finely chopping our onions here. Doug says, which veg box deliverer do you use? I'm guessing they'd cover my area if they deliver to you. Yes, absolutely. So I use Riverford. Sometimes I don't say that properly and people are like, what did you just say? River for Ford. Riverford. There we go. And they deliver all over the UK. All over the UK. So they're huge now. And actually, was it last year or the year before? They changed their ownership system. So now they're predominantly owned by their staff. So it's a really progressive company, really, really interesting company. And it's a company that we at the school, we've actually done a couple of projects with them where our students developed recipes for their recipe meal kits. So they do recipe meal kits, like Gusto does, and, like those types of things. And so our students actually developed recipes for them, which was amazing, and then they actually go into production. So yeah, it's a great thing for our students to do. So they're not a vegan company, but they're very good at promoting vegan food, which is great, which is really, really good. She says, whoops, I'm out of sync. Am I? David says, I'm not cooking along, but I'm taking notes. Top of the class. Khan says, I'm back. Hello, Chef Day. Hope you're all doing well and safe. Yeah, we're doing really well. We're doing really well. But Khan, I do need to show you something before we get started, which is I need to show you this. So this is what was underneath the rainbow today. So it's our artichoke. Rather than our artichoke, it's our artichoke. So, because I just wanted to get involved with you guys and all of your foodie puns yesterday. Okay, let's come over to this for you guys. Fabiola says, sounds like a great company project. Yes, yes, they are. They are, definitely, definitely. Okay, so we're just going to finely chop our garlic here. It's quite flat, this one, so I don't need to cut it down there. There we go. And so to anybody who is cooking along at home, just make sure that you have your stock in another pan and it's warming up, it's heating up. Because you don't want to put cold stock into our pan because it will really, really slow down the cooking process. So a risotto doesn't need to take 40 minutes. Right, there we go. You know, this won't take 40 minutes at all. We're doing it in a nice wide pan as well, and that will really help with the cooking process. I'm just going to give my garlicky knife a rinse. There we go. So just because the garlic has a lot of sugar and it makes it quite sticky. Now let me just see. Khan says artichoke jokes coming right up. Artichoke jokes. Wow, this is like niche within a niche. Like we're like completely like down the rabbit hole now, guys. Okay, so a bit of oil. I'm just gonna reduce that heat because, as you know, my pan, my hob is a demon. Okay, so Khan says, what do you call a vegetable necklace? Well, I don't know. What do you call a vegetable necklace? Okay, so just popping in our onion first and making sure that it is covered in that oil. As soon as it goes in, mixing it around so that all of those bits of onion are covered in oil. And I hope that you can see that I've tried to cut my onion as finely as I can. And we are going to cook this out until the onion gets as soft as it can be. And we might need to add splashes of water. So if anybody is cooking along at home, you know, it's a good idea just to get a glass with a little bit of water to one side. So this should be on a medium heat now for any of you guys who are cooking along at home. Okay, so Khan's answer to what do you call a vegetable necklace was an artichoke. Okay, and these are, this is an optional extra, guys. So, you know, if you, I'm not expecting you people who are cooking along at home to have these at all. But I'm just going to chop a few of them off and pop them into some water so that they can just soak and wash a bit before we use them right at the very end of our dish. So just pop them into a bowl here, add some water. And we're just going to leave them like this, and then any bits of soil or anything like that will come off them. Okay. So if anyone's cooking along at home, just make sure that none of this is burning. If it is, then turn it down. There we go. And so whilst this is cooking, you know, it's absolutely fine for this to take a while to cook because we can prep our veg. So artichoke can be a bit of a pain to prep, and a lot of people get a bit scared of it. So I'm just going to show you guys how to do this. So it's great that we've got this view so that you know, you've got like a real close-up. I'm just going to get some lemon from the fridge, and the reason why is because the lemon juice will stop this from going brown. That's the only reason why we're using it. So we just want to take off these stems and then start removing these outer leaves. So sometimes, depending on the type of artichoke this is, you can get spikes at the top here. There are slightly different types. So in the video that I shared the other day, that one had spikes at the top, but this one doesn't. This one doesn't, so it's a lot easier on your fingers. Because what you can do is you can like start peeling them off and putting your thumb here, and obviously if that's spiky, then that's going to hurt you. So if they do have a spike at the end, then you just press the leaf together and pull it off. There we go. So we just want to start taking all of these off. Just going to turn that up a bit because it's not really doing very much. We do want it to actually cook. Okay. Khan said, how did the vegetable die? Oh, I don't know. How did the vegetable die? He artichoked. That's a good one. Okay, so just picking up the speed here. As you get nearer to the centre, these are becoming a bit more easy to take off. And you do need to take off quite a lot. So when I first started doing this, I was like, but like there's loads of waste. There's loads of waste. But that just, you know, it is what it is. So we need to get to these lighter coloured leaves here. There you go. Mind your eyes, guys. Yes, so we just need to get to about this stage. See, these are lighter. And then we can take off the top. These top leaves. So it's about here that they are hard. So we want to get rid of those because they'll be too chewy to eat past this point. And then we just want to neaten this up a bit as well. So we can just use our knife to trim off these. And you just want to get these dark green patches off. So artichokes do look like they're a lot of work. And I won't lie to you, when you first start prepping them, they will feel like a lot of work because you're getting used to it. You know, you're doing something new. You're doing something new that you've never done before. But then you get into the swing of it and, you know, it gets a lot easier from there on in. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to put this to one side whilst I put the garlic into the pan. There we go. So I can see that the onion is starting to get translucent, so I want to put my garlic in now and get that to start cooking along with it. There we go. And as ever, I've got a ring here because the middle part of my pan is higher than the outsides of it. So if I put anything in the middle here, then it tends to burn. Okay, guys, so in here we have the choke. Let's see if you guys can see that. Oh gosh, it's too bright. It's too bright. I'm sorry, I'm complaining that it's too sunny. I shouldn't be doing that. There we go. Okay, right. So see this hairy bit? That hairy bit. So that is called the choke. The reason why it's called the choke is because it can actually choke you. And so, you know, it's these like hairy fine bits and we really, really don't want to eat that. So we've got to take that out. So because this is quite a big one, I'm actually going to get my knife in and pop it along here, along there, just at the bottom of those hairs to get this choke out. If it was, sorry, there we go. Yeah, along here. So if the choke was smaller, I could just use a small spoon, but this choke is quite big. So I'm just going to be really, really careful and slide my knife in. And I'm going all the way along it. So I'm not going all the way through. You don't want to go all the way through, but you just want to go through to where all that choke is. And then I'm going to push out And, you know, you'll see all of those like fibrous hairs come out. And if you guys are doing a lot of these as well, I'd recommend wearing gloves, because these guys can have like little spiky things, and even like the hairs can sometimes like stab you. Sorry, that makes it sound a lot more dangerous than it actually is. It's more like, you know, when you get a splinter, you know, it's like that. You know, it's like a very, very fine splinter. It's that type of thing. There we go. We'll just turn that down whilst we crack on with preparing these. So we just want to make sure that all of that is taken out. There we go. That's what we're looking for. No hairs, no choke left in there. And now just a little bit of lemon juice on it, and that will stop it from going brown. So, and again, once again, getting the choke out of this. And you know, you can of course use ready-made artichoke, but I would recommend using the ones that you get in jars in oil rather than the ones in tins, because I think the ones in tins, they have that like tinny taste, which isn't very pleasant. Oh, Maria says knife loses sharp edge cutting artichokes. That's a great tip. That's a great tip. I'll be sure to sharpen my knife afterwards. Doug, so can the outer leaves be used for anything? I believe that, I don't know if it was one of you guys who were on today, but somebody shared a link to how to make a tea with it. Apparently you can make a tea with it, which is meant to be very, very, very good for you, very, very healthy for you. So I'm just whizzing through this one a little bit quicker. There we go. You just need to get through to the kind of paler leaves. And this one actually isn't too bad for green on the bottom. So I can just quickly get that off. And then cut the top of the leaves off. So the leaves are quite tough. They are quite tough. So even though I did sharpen my knife only a couple of days ago, it's struggling. It is struggling. There we go. And actually this choke is small enough for me just to use my little spoon. There we go. But these are amazing. These are, I mean, they are, it is a lot of work, but they're worth it. They're really, really worth it. So I'm just going to cut these into smaller pieces. You know, it's going to be nice that we're going to have this variety of different veg in our risotto. Yeah, so we just want to pop them into, sorry, we just want to cut them into chunks like that. A little bit more, a little bit of the lemon juice, make sure that they don't brown very much. Okay, so these onions are about done, and I have really, really cooked them a lot, so that they are going to be really, really soft. Okay, so the next ingredient that we want to add is our wine, or, you know, that type of thing, you know, whatever we're using. So let me just get that. Just a second, we've got a problem with one of the cameras. Okay. Right. Okay, guys, sorry, I am going to have to take a short intermission and see what is happening with one of our cameras. Right. There we go. Okay, sorry, I'll be back with you in a second. Right. Okay, there we go, guys. Sorry, this camera went for a second. And do you know why? Because it was giving me a notification that the Vegan Chef School is now live. So that's helpful. That's really helpful. That is something that I will have to watch out for. So sorry for that delay. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my kombucha, which is over here. And we'll pop a splash of this into our pan. So if you're using wine, then do go and grab that now. It's a really good excuse for getting a bottle of wine. Okay. Woo! Right, there we go, guys. Just pop our kombucha back over here and make sure that we cover it up because the flies absolutely love it at the moment. Okay, so this is going to add a really lovely depth of flavour to our risotto. So we're just going to let this reduce for a few minutes, just as we would with wine. We're going to use the kombucha in exactly the same way that we would with wine. So we'll just let that reduce, and then we're going to pop in our rice. Okay, so I'm glad you guys are keeping each other occupied while I had that intermission. Okay, right, now we can add our rice. And this is about 130 to 150 grams of rice. This is for 2 people. Sorry, this is for 2 people. But we are going to be putting a lot of veg in this, so it might not seem like an awful lot of rice, but I prefer to go like heavy on the veg with a risotto, so there's more of a balance. So I'm just mixing this in so that all of those little bits of rice get covered in the kombucha that we've got in there. Okay, and now we can start adding our stock. So you have to make sure that that stock is hot. That stock has to be hot throughout, because if we use cold stock, then every time we put stock into it, it's going to cool it down, and we don't want to do that, otherwise we'll be here for hours. Okay, so right, here is our stock, guys. We'll start just with a couple of ladlefuls. And so when you're making a risotto with a white rice or a brown rice, actually, you do need to add the stock incrementally in this way. And the reason why we do this is so that the starch isn't released too quickly and we get a creamy consistency rather than it just being like gloopy like porridge and or being like far too thick. So that's why we're putting the stock in slowly. But if you make a risotto with something like black rice or red rice, it doesn't have a huge amount of starch in it, and you don't necessarily have to do that. So I have done one pot this year before that is a risotto where you literally just whack everything in a pan and add water and let it bubble away. But if you are using white rice or a brown rice, then we have to add water incrementally. Okay, so Vicky and Jim, thank you for joining us. Okay, right, no questions for the moment. So we will just let this boil down, like bubble away. It needs to be simmering really rather than boiling. So let's go over here and then you guys can see how it is, because I think it's always really difficult to know like when do you put what in. So when do you put more water in? So you do want it to dry out more than this, and then we will put more of the stock, more of the water into it. You don't want it to get completely dry, but also we don't want to completely drown the rice. So you can still see that, these bits of rice are, they're not submerged. I think you can see that fairly clearly. Let me just bring this up, and there we go. So it isn't swimming. It isn't swimming in stock. That's how we want it. Okay, now the rule with the veg is that the longer it normally takes to cook the veg, the sooner you have to put it in. So with these guys, I'm going to put them in now. In fact, I'm going to cut that one a bit smaller so that they're all around the same size. So with artichoke, they can take a while to cook, and also even if we overcook them, they'll still taste nice. Yeah, so there are some veg where you overcook it and it doesn't taste very nice. I think I gave the example of Brussels sprouts the other day. So if we overcook them, if we put them in now, put Brussels sprouts in now, which would be a really nice addition, actually, really, really nice addition, then by the time the rice is actually cooked, they're going to be kind of sulphurous and they're not going to taste very nice at all because the flavour changes if we overcook them. But with the artichoke, that should definitely go in now. And we are going to put some asparagus into this too. So this is a really nice tender asparagus that we got in our veg box. So with asparagus, what we can do is we don't necessarily have to snap these bits off. So quite often what you'll see is people will bend them to the point where they snap and then they'll just get rid of those bits at the end. But what we can do instead is we can actually just peel those bottoms because the inside is absolutely fine. The inside will be really, really okay. I'm just going to use that amount here. We need some more water in this now. There we go. So I'm just going to pop 1 ladleful in. We don't need to pop any more than that in at the moment. There we go. There's just some bits stuck to the side. So we're just getting rid of those. And then we can start peeling these. So I'm just going to move all of this rubbish up here. And I will actually try making the artichoke leaf tea as well. And I'll let you know how I get on with that. So thank you to whoever it was that shared the link for that. And I think that was that in our community group or our regular page? I don't really remember. Okay, so guys, I'm just peeling just the very bottoms of the asparagus. There we go. Pop that over there. There we go, and then we're not wasting too much of them. Because these bottom parts, it's just the outer skin that can be a bit too chewy, and then it isn't pleasant. It isn't pleasant to eat. But I think it's going to go into our tea as well later on. So that's okay. That's okay. I might put some rosemary in there too. Rosemary tea is lovely. Oh, okay, that end fell off. I'm probably being a bit too firm with it. There we go. Just take those peelings off. And actually some of the thinner ones are okay. The bottoms of them are actually alright. So with the bok choy that I added the other day, as I said earlier, I did add it right at the end, and it had added a really, really lovely texture to our risotto because you had the soft veg. So we had the artichoke that was, very, very soft. And also the asparagus was quite soft, but then the bok choy had some bite to it, which was really, really lovely. And also because I added it towards the end, it still maintained that lovely bright green colour. So we're just going to cut these to about 2 centimetres each, something like that. There we go. And it's really nice just to leave those heads like that. So I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to put it in quite yet, but I am going to put in a pinch of salt and a good grind of black pepper. So, but you guys can use white pepper if you prefer. That's absolutely fine. You can also add a little bit of lemon zest to this recipe, which is a really, really lovely addition. But I'm saving my lemon zest. I'm saving my lemon zest because in now which week is it? It's either next week or the week after. I'll be showing you guys how to make a baked lemon and blueberry cheesecake. So I'm saving my lemon zest for that. So just giving this a mix, and actually it needs to go on a bit higher. Otherwise, this is going to take all day. There we go. Okay. So we do want to see some movement there. We do want to see some bubbling. Okay, right. So guys, if you guys have any questions for me, now is a really, really good time to ask, because I don't really have too much else to do, to be honest. I just got to let the risotto cook. So now is a really, really good question. Time for questions. Khan said, Chef Day, my mum finally loves one of the dishes I cooked for her. That's great. That's great. So which one was it? Let us know. Let us know which one your mum really liked. It'd be really, really good to know that. Doug says cheesecake. Yeah, that's a good one. And you know, I have to make here's one I made earlier one, and then also make one for the show. Tough gig, huh? Yeah, really tough gig. Okay. Right, so that is starting to bubble away a bit more. So in a moment, I will add some more stock. Right, there we go. Yeah, so we have like some really, really interesting recipes coming up. And also we are trying to do more of these cook along recipes so that you guys can cook along from home, because I know that a lot of you want to do that. So we're trying to do that as much as possible. We may have to make the odd change at the last minute if for some reason, you know, the deliveries that we've got, sometimes they're changing things at the moment. You know, we're having a lot of substitutions, but we will do our best. We will do our best, because it's really lovely if you guys can actually cook along with us. And in fact, I have seen that on our Facebook page or in our community hub. In our community hub, our group, we've now got the option of Facebook groups within Messenger, which is where we can actually get up to 50 people live from their own homes, or actually their own kitchen, so we can get all you guys on cooking at the same time. So one day we could do a mass cook along with like up to 50 people, and then we can all sit down and eat together. Is that a crazy idea? Is that crazy? Let me know what you guys think of that. Okay, so this is getting a lot better now. It's starting to bubble away. I'm going to pop the asparagus in and a little bit of the stock. There we go. And just make sure that your stock is nice and warm, because mine actually seems like it's a bit too cool. So just put the temperature up a little bit. Okay, so asparagus is in now. So you just need to think about how long the veggies that you're putting into it will actually take, if, for example, like you boil them or braise them or like that type of thing. Okay, so Doug says Peter Kay comes to mind. Cake and cheese, are you mad? Yes, exactly. Sarah says, sounds amazing. Denise, that would be wonderful. Justine, when we have our aprons and hats. Were you serious about the hat thing? I take it from that you actually were serious about us making our own hats. So I will have to get back to you about that. Abigail says it's not crazy. Good. Okay, Colleen says it sounds like an opportunity to do the US bingo. One person from every state. That's a great idea. Emma says, hi, do you have a cookbook out? And love my hair longer. Yeah, it's growing. I'm just not doing haircuts anymore. It's amazing, like, how much this time has like taught you that there's a lot of stuff that you just don't need to do, or that you don't need to buy, or, you know, that we just kind of like busy our lives with so much stuff. Okay, so Justine says, oh my god, yes, a cookbook would be amazing. Actually, I would really love to do a cookbook with not only, you know, the recipes that we do, but also the recipes that our students have developed, because they have developed some amazing recipes, really amazing recipes, and also they have really interesting stories as well. So, but writing a book is a huge thing. So I have written one book and I self-published it, but it wasn't a recipe book. It was a book on how to have a better relationship with food, how to heal your relationship with food. And that was, oh my God, it was, if you know anybody who has ever written a book, like, it is such an undertaking, but it's on the cards. It's on the cards. I do feel like I want to get students recipes out there as much as possible, and a book would be a really, really good way of doing that. Okay, so this is drying out a bit. Let's bring you guys back over here, and then you can see. So see how dry that is now. So we'll add some more stock to it. There we go, the stock's a bit warmer now. So I want to see it still bubbling. So when I put the water in it, the stock, I want it to continue bubbling. It shouldn't stop bubbling and then have to bring itself back up to temperature. And because it's still bubbling, that lets me know that this stock now is as hot as it should be. Oh, I sound very teacherly then. Sorry about that. So just giving it a mix again. So some people say not to mix risotto. Some people say that you should. I always do. Okay, there we go. So the way that you know that a risotto is cooked is by the little white bits in the centre of it. And if you want to taste it and be able to feel the texture in your mouth, then try taking one of the grains, but actually get it between your teeth. And only then will you be able to tell whether it's done. So this still has a way to go yet. I'm just going to let it get up to temperature, and then I'm going to put the peas in it. I don't want to cool it down too much because I don't want this to take forever. As much as it would be really, really lovely to have you guys just hang out with me for the whole day, that would absolutely be really, really nice. You probably have things to do. You probably have things to do. Okay, so Paul was asking about the book, and thank you, Ingrid, for mentioning that. Paul said, when am I going to be on Sky News again? Well, so the last time was at Christmas time. And then the time before that was like 3 years ago. So apparently we're doing it like every 2.5 years. So we've probably got another 2 years to wait, I'm afraid. So, but it was fun. It was fun being on Sky News. It's weird. It is like really, really weird. So they've got like this massive like complex in Osterley, and then you go into like the news building, and now I think both days that I was there, it was the weekend, so there's like nobody else there, and so it's like these massive buildings, and you go into this building, there's a receptionist, and that's it, and then someone comes down to get you, and then you're taken up to this glass box that is in the middle of this massive building, just this glass box like right in the centre with one man in it, just one guy just sat in the middle of a massive building in a big glass box within a building that's like a big glass box. It's weird. It is really weird. But, you know, happy to do it because then I get to talk about vegan food. So that's always good. Okay, right. So back to our pan. And it's really steaming along now. So at the beginning, you won't have to add stock that often. And then once it gets to this stage, you know, it's starting to heat up, you will need to add stock more often. So let's just check. All right. It's still got a bite to it. So adding a ladleful of our stock. Let it get up to temperature, and then let's just pop our peas in. There we go, lovely colour as well, really lovely colour. So I think this should only take another 5 minutes. something like that. But while this is just doing its final thing, we can move it over and we can make our topping that's going to go that's going to be sprinkled on top of our risotto. So I just pop this over to the other side of the kitchen. Okay, and we've got another pan here. So I'm just going to toast our walnuts, but I'm going to crush them up before I put them in. There we go. Maria's Osley Park was beautiful, was it? I don't know. I've never been there. I've never been there. Doug said I went in there and someone famous I should probably remember was coming out as I went in. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm the same with famous people. Honestly, like people walk past me and I'm like, I know that you are like someone famous and I should probably know you, but I have absolutely no idea who you are. Okay, so just tearing these apart and popping them into our pan, and then we're just going to lightly toast them. And whilst that is starting to toast, I'm just going to nip over to the other side of the kitchen and make sure that our risotto is okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so Paul said if you got on again, say in a couple of weeks, you could tell the story of having done 80 days of cooking around the world. Oh, I like that. I really, really like that. 80 days of cooking around the world from my own kitchen. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, so we are just toasting our walnuts, but as I said, you can use any seeds or nuts if you want to. Brazil nuts work really well. So do pine nuts, cashews, almonds, even hazelnuts. Hazelnuts is a really lovely twist if you're going to make this in, say, like autumn. Because this can be like quite an autumnal, quite warming dish. The way that we're making it today, it's more summery, you know, it's more spring-like. So there are lighter flavours going on. But you know, if you are making it in autumn or winter, then something like a hazelnut for the topping would be really, really lovely. Okay, so let's just get back here, and I think that these are about done now, so they don't take very long at all. I can see that some of these little bits are going quite dark brown. So you guys are loving the idea of 80 days of cooking around the world. Khan said, what is the theme of next week? Okay, so for a few weeks we won't have a theme, and that is because I'm trying to use up all of the bits and pieces that are in my cupboards rather than buying new, basically. But I can actually have a look and see if there is like a theme underlying. I can just pop this back on. Now, there we go. There we go. So let's just have a look at this, see how it's doing. Almost done, guys. And how are our... Yeah, so our artichokes are cooked through as well. The asparagus is cooked through, but it's still maintaining its bright green colour, which is what we want. We don't want to overcook it, and then yeah, and then it goes like a dark green. Okay, just 5 minutes more. So we just need to crush our nuts. If you guys don't have a pestle and mortar, then you can just do this with a rolling pin. There we go. Colleen said, what is the giant plant behind you? Was it amaryllis? That's a good guess, but no, it isn't amaryllis. And I've just recently started sharing some pictures of the plants, the edible plants we've got around the house. And so I did share a picture of that the other day, I think on Facebook and also Instagram as well, and a few other edible plants we've got around the house. Just going to add a little bit more stock. This. So really keeping an eye on it now, guys. because I don't want this to get too dry, and it will be soaking up the stock a lot quicker now. A lot quicker. As we get to the end, it will get soaked up a lot quicker. Okay, so now with this, we'll just add a couple of teaspoons of our nutritional yeast, and then I can talk to you about the plant that we have behind me. So we're just going to give this a nice mix. A good mix. You can add a bit of salt to this as well if you want it to be, you know, to add a bit of salty punch. That's absolutely fine. And then that's ready for us to put on the top. And let's come back here, and then I can show you guys. Okay, so these are leek tops. So Jeff has an allotment. Just one of the many reasons why I love him. And he brought back these massive leeks, absolutely massive leeks, and they had bees at the end of them. And he said to me, "Can you do anything with them?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely can." So they've gone in our version of a vase, which is actually a jug. And so yeah, they are making our kitchen pretty at the moment. Let me just see if we have any more questions. Doug said, heading up artichokes and walnuts as soon as this is over. Perfect dish for this afternoon. Yes, it is really lovely for when the sun is shining. Really nice light dish. Emma says, I have low iron. I know cast iron cookware is good, but I don't want to pay much for them. What ones do you suggest, please? Okay, Emma, that's a really, really good question. And something that Dr. Gemma Newman, she's actually mentioned this to me before, that the cast iron pans, the iron that actually gets emitted from them goes into the food and therefore goes into you, isn't the right type of iron. It isn't the right type of iron, which I didn't know, and actually I had worked with a cast iron pan company before to promote their products thinking that they did this. So I'm kind of like annoyed that happened, because I don't like to give like false information to people at all. But do check out Dr. Gemma Newman's Instagram as Plant Powered Doctor. But you know, check out what she said about that, because she's the professional. I'm not. I know how to cook things. I don't know. I can't safely say give you advice on nutrition, basically. So I would pass you over to her, basically. So yeah. Do check out what she says, and also you could also send her a message, and you know, although she's an incredibly busy lady, she will do her best to get back to you. Right, okay. I think that this is nearly done. Sorry, I've been nattering away and haven't been paying attention to it. There we go. So almost done, and I'm just going to prep the few bits and pieces that we're going to have on the top. And I'm just going to, you see that I am trying the rice all the time, because I don't want to overcook it. That rice is done. So I'm really going to turn it all the way down, and then pop a little bit more stock in it, just to tide it over until we're ready to serve. So we get a nice like pasta style plate, and we have our carrot tops here. So I'll just drain these. There we go. And so guys, sorry, just taking a lot of water off the carrot tops. You don't have to put herbs on this at all. It's very, very nice as it is. I'm just using these because they came in our veg box, and I really wanted to use everything. So I'm going to really finely chop these. Quite often I use big bits of herbs in my food, especially with a lot of like the Middle Eastern food that I make. It's absolutely fine to even just like pluck the leaves off, tear them into your food. But with something like a risotto I want finely chopped herbs. So I'm gonna really give these a nice chop, really good chop. Oh, Doug, of course, we do have a qualified professional here. So you're a dietitian, is that right, Doug? I think that's what RD stands for, registered dietitian. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, thank you for saying that. I'll have to remember that in future. Okay, so really finely chopping these. You can see I'm going on for quite a while. Past the point that most people would get bored. Okay, so we've got our freshly chopped carrot tops here, and then we have just a few of these pea shoots. So we can pop those on as well. Okay, so we grab our plate. Okay, this can go off now. Okay, so you can see that the greens are still a really nice green. You know, they haven't gone too dark. Some of the thin ones have, some of the thin asparagus has gone darker. But a lot of the asparagus is still a bright green. And that means that we haven't overcooked it. So when you're plating it, it's very nice if you can get some of the artichoke at the top so that people can see it. Because, you know, that's kind of the star of the show. It's something that we don't have that often. Okay, so there is our, that's our risotto. And then our carrot tops here. There we go. And I'll see what else I can make with these lovely carrot tops as well, because I've got quite a few of them. So just using them in this way isn't going to do it. It isn't going to do it. And then these, I'm going to just make a lovely ring of these. There we go. Around our plate. Oh, this is cute. How cute is that? Nice. And then just to finish off, guys, we have our Parmesan alternative. Okay, and I'm just popping that around the edge, which is around on the rice rather than actually on that artichoke, because I do want to show off that we have gone to all of that effort to prepare our own fresh artichokes, which isn't something that happens every day, and so it should definitely be celebrated. So there we go, guys. This is our spring veg risotto. We have also used our lovely carrot tops in this dish, and also our pea shoots. I do hope that you have enjoyed this lovely recipe, and I do hope that you try it as well. So, you know, let me know if you do try it. I'd love to see your pictures as well. That would be great. So, you know, if you've got any pictures of the recipes that you've made, either from our show or from one of our courses, or just, you know, recipes that you've come up with yourself, we'd love to see them in our community hub, which is our Facebook group. Okay, guys, so Doug said, do you think cherry tomatoes would go well with this? Yes, absolutely. Although I think the cherry tomatoes would go really well with anything. But with cherry tomatoes, it would be great for you to pan fry them on a really, really high heat until they just about start bursting. They are so nice because then you chomp on one and then explosion of flavour. It's really, really lovely. Okay, so there we go, guys. That is our recipe for today. I hope that you've enjoyed spending this time with me. Thank you for all the love and laughter. It's absolutely brilliant. Really, really brilliant. Always good to connect with you guys. So please do, as always, have a lovely day.